Xiangyun is back, and if you want to build her right, this quick guide has you covered. She's a 5-star animal catalyst, an amazing team-wide healer, and a game changer for the right teams. In this video we'll go over her best talents, weapons, artifacts, constellations, teams, and my thoughts on her place in the meta. Hello, welcome to Genshin Filter, your quick guide for everything Genshin. So let's get started! As a Catalyst user, her normal charge and plunge attack are animo infused, but they are mostly for niche DPS playstyles and not needed in her support builds where she shines. Her elemental skill lets her jump up 3 times by repeatedly pressing it within a short window, then attack for a big plunge that deals AoE animo damage and generates 5 particles. It's also one of the best traversal abilities in the game, letting you reach high places and cross gaps with ease. Her elemental burst summons a mechanism for 16 seconds that does an initial team-wide heal and deals AoE animo damage. Afterwards, it keeps healing the whole team over time and boosts the team jump height for up to 8 plunges that do extra animo hit on impact. This is one of the best team-wide healing abilities in the game and can turn almost any character into a plunge carry. Her Ascension 1 gives the whole team crit rate for plunge attacks, scaling up to 10% depending on how many enemies are hit by Xinyan's skill. Ascension 4 buffs the on-field character plunge attack shockwave by up to 200% of her attack, capping a 9000 bonus damage if you manage to reach 3000 attack on her, but it only works on 1 enemy per plunge. Her overworld passive increased gliding speed by 15%, a nice bonus that pairs perfectly with her amazing exploration skill. For talent priorities, focus on leveling her burst to boost healing and animo plunging hits, then her skill for some respectable personal damage thanks to her attack scaling. If you're going for strictly a support build, ignore her normal and charge attacks. But if you plan to use her as a DPS, level them before her skill. As for rotation, apply the element you want to swirl on the enemy with to activate the VV buff, and switch to Xiangyun. Start with her skill. Jump once or twice, then plunge for quick particle generation, or use all 3 jumps for more skill damage. Then pop her burst for healing and to enable plunges. From there, continue the rotation to your carry and start the plunging. When building her for support, her signature weapon, Crane's Echoing Call, is her best in slot, boosting plunge damage for the whole team and helping her energy needs. For free-to-play alternatives, the old event weapon, Oathsworn Eye, gives her everything she wants, both attack and DR. Otherwise, Favonius Codex and TDDS are great options to provide team support. For DPS build, the new Veressa signature weapon, Vivid Notions, which running on the banner alongside Xinyan, actually rivals if not outperforms her own signature weapons for max plunge damage. So if you are pulling for Xinyan weapon, losing to Veressa's signature is actually a huge win for Xinyan DPS wanters. Other solid DPS options include any 5-star crit weapon, a high attack stat stick, or strong 4-star crit options. For a recommended supportive role, the 4-piece Viridescent Venerer is the best in slot, shredding the enemy resistance by 40%, boosting the team damage. For DPS build, the Marchese Hunter is the best if you're pairing her with Forina. Otherwise, Desert Pavilion Chronicle is a great option too. For the main stat on the support build, on the Sands go for attack or energy recharge, aiming for 170 to 200 ER depending on the weapon and if there is another animo character on the team. For the Goblet, choose attack, and for the Circlet, choose attack as well. If you manage to get over 3000 attack to maximize a passive buff, you can then swap to a healing bonus circlet for stronger healing. For DPS build, use crit rate or damage circlet for a good 1:2 ratio. If using the Marchese Hunter, remember to factor in its effect. That gives 36% crit rate that won't show outside of battle. Furthermore, if your team already gives her over 3000 attack, you can switch the Goblet to animo damage. For substat on the support build, focus on getting enough ER to burst consistently. Then attack percent and flat attack until you reach 3000. After that, go for crit rate and damage. For DPS, still make sure that you have enough ER, and then prioritize crit rate and damage before focusing on attack. Xinyan has some great early constellations that really boost her support role. Her C1 gives her a second skill charge, letting her generate more particles, stack her Ascension 1 passive more efficiently, and improve her exploration. Her C2 is a huge buff, giving her a 20% attack buff and making her Ascension 4 plunge shockwave scale up to 400% of her attack, now capping at 18,000 extra damage. C3 raises her burst level and C5 raises her skill level. Her C4 makes her heal based on how many times she jumps, which is a nice bonus healing. C6 unlocks her full DPS potential, giving her skill plunges crit rate scaling based on how many times she jumps, and letting her spam her skill up to 8 times inside her burst. Her C2 is a great stopping point if you want to boost her supportive power. Xinyan has some great meta teams that open up a whole new playstyle for many characters, so let's cover the best ones, along with some quick team building tips. Her top meta teams are Xiao Hyper Carry, Verissa Electro Charge, Gaming Melt, Diluc Melt, and even Hu Tao Double Hydro, all built around Xinyan's insane Plunge buff. Since Plunges are considered slow heavy hits and have no ICD, they can trigger powerful elemental reaction with every Plunge, so you should build your team around that. Catalyst users naturally have elemental infusion Plunges, so almost any Catalyst with strong DPS build can work in Plunge reaction teams. For melee characters, you can use C6 Bennett, Changyang, or Candice to infuse the on-field character Plunges with Pyro, Cryo, or Hydro, setting up these strong reaction teams. But the strongest variation of that must be pairing Xinyan with C6 Bennett and Citlali, creating a powerful core that gives tons of buffs, letting almost any melee unit in the last slot trigger huge melt Plunges. Claymore users are especially good here since their Plunge multipliers are the highest. Pairing Xinyan with Furina in both Plunge and non-Plunge teams has amazing synergy, since unlike other team-wide healers that only heal the active character after the initial burst, Xinyan heals the entire team both initially and over time, making her probably the best healer to max out Furina's buff. If you want to run her as a DPS, this team with Furina, Bennett and Faruzon is her most powerful version, especially if you manage to get Faruzon to C6. Xinyan is definitely one of the most unique and fun support Genshin has added. She brings a fresh playstyle with Plunge teams, while also being the best team-wide healer in the game. If you're maining Xiao, Gamin or Diluc, Xinyan is almost a must-pull, as she really helps this team reach their full potential. Otherwise, I'd say pull her if you like her design or want to explore Plunge-focused teams, since she can add a lot of variety and fun to your account. But outside of that, I wouldn't consider her a great pull, and would recommend to save your wishes for a more meta-defining character. And that's a wrap! If this video helped you in any way, consider giving it a like and subscribe for more filter guides. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!